a lot of incredible innovations have arrived, and I think where entrepreneurs are going to be making a lot of money is the same way that they've always made money, which is they're going to be on the cutting edge, and they're going to be playing arbitrage with the future. They're going to be figuring out where the puck is going, and they're going to be moving there first. And when I'm advising companies into thinking about how to predict what's going to be happening with AI and where it's going, there's quite a few models I give them, but one that I want to share here is that the closest analogy of where we are at right now to history is at the turn of the 20th century as electricity was being distributed throughout civilization. So think of Thomas Edison and the light bulb, think of the power grid throughout Europe, throughout the West, where the transformation meant that any technology that we had before, we could add power to it through the form of electricity. So a hammer became a jackhammer. A carriage became a car. A screwdriver became a power tool, so on and so forth. And what we're doing right now is something similar, where at this point we are adding intelligence to just about anything that you could imagine. And because the intelligence at this point has gotten advanced to the point where it can emulate human communication, literally the answer is that everything is going to be changed. So what I suggest people to be thinking about is to take your subject matter expertise, takes what you find unique, what makes you unique, and to figure out how AI is going to be entering into it. How is what you're going to be doing going to be augmented by it? And if that is a little bit too broad, then the way that you break it down is you think through some sort of value added chain. I'm going to assume that you either are an entrepreneur that has a business or are going into a business. And so you break down that value chain of what that business would look like or what that process is, and then think through every step of that value chain is both adding value but it's also subtracting value, because costs accrue, friction is added, miscommunications could be added, but also value is added. In e-commerce, there's a point where they see the advertisement and they click on it, then they put in the order button, or so on and so forth. At every one of those stages, you can add in different forms of AI to increase the efficiency and decrease the cost. We just see how fast we're advancing and how many breakthroughs we're making. How far is that in the future to come up with true creativity? It's hard to say, but I will talk a little bit about what's the gap between where we are and that point. We're probably going to cross it this century, but I want to talk a little bit about what that gap is. If you go to ChatGPT and you ask it, what's 2 plus 2? It will give you the answer 4. But if you ask it a very complex or very long math problem like, what's 5,000 trillion, 400, so on and so forth, times equally large, ridiculous number. So a math problem that is not very popular online. It will give you a wrong number. And if you punch into a calculator, you will verify that it's a wrong number. But the first few digits will be correct. The last few digits will be correct of the new number. So what it's doing there is it's recognizing patterns. When you're asking it these questions, it's not reasoning through the problem. It's not calculating it. Even though it's a computer, you expect a computer to calculate it, for Christ's sake. But it's just recognizing patterns in the internet. So if you ask what's 2 plus 2, it will have millions of examples of people saying 2 plus 2 equals 4. So it knows the answer is 4. But if you ask it a question it hasn't seen before, even a math question that you could reason through with enough time, it will give a wrong answer, but it will get parts of it correct. It only has to look at the first few and last few digits of the two component numbers. So the pattern recognizing has gotten us further than we thought, but it only has the illusion that it actually has a model of reality. So the way that I think about this is that us humans, when we are reasoning through things, we reason things both bottom up, where we have empirical, historical data of what we've seen, and we have examples, but we also think through things top down. You can imagine something you've never seen before. And right now, these technologies, it has a illusion of top down thinking, and it's done it only through bottom up. And so I think that as we are developing better and better technologies for these AIs to have internal simulated versions of reality, we're creating these virtual minds, like physics simulations and other things that are a little bit more obeying the laws of physics, so to speak. I think we're going to get closer to an AI that's able to do something a little more top down, and that's going to be quite exciting. I think that's going to be what the next few innovations are. Transformers, they've taken us further than we ever thought they would, but they are going to peak out, and we need a few more innovations, a few new, truly creative, new innovations that no one's talking about yet. We need a few more of those before we're really going to crack that problem. The detectors that detect if it's rhythmized AI or not have a very big problem that one cannot solve permanently, which is that you can use an AI that trains off of that detector. It just keeps retesting better and better using that detector to say, now it writes like a human.